Warning. Today, we are going to be talking about the reality in my home city and our guest, Madeline Brame, New York City, but also national. The reality today, truth, no propaganda right here on the Warriors. We have a war going on in American cities, and that is crime. And we want to bring this out into the public. We want to talk about it. We need much more discussion 24/7, 365, in our opinion. And we also want to have open and honest communication together and give you resources or take actions and join us and make your voices be heard because after all these cities belong to us and the country as well. The Warriors, our goal is always educating you, so buckle up. You've been warned. We want to protect you, your children. You know what to do. My fellow New Yorker, Madeline Brame, joins us, a true warrior. Madeline, welcome to the Warriors.
Thank you so much for having me, Lynn.
Absolutely. When I say true warrior, Madeline, I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. But we're going to get into that. But I want to tell everybody a little bit about you. It's your story to tell, so I always like you to relay your story. But it's necessary that everybody know that you are a national crime victim rights advocate and CEO of Rescue Angel LLC. You're involved with several not-for-profit groups assisting victims of violent crimes, providing financial and moral support. You counsel on navigating a legal system geared to protect these felons, these horrible people. Madeline, you are one of the most successful and outspoken critics of bail reform and lesser sentences for repeat violent offenders. Madeline rose to national prominence after her war hero son, Sergeant Hason Correa, God bless him, Madeline, God bless you, was murdered by career criminals in 2018. You are all over the media. You are all over New York City with your bullhorn speaking out. You can follow Madeline. Everyone, follow on X. I still call it Twitter, Madeline. Brame, BRAME _ Madeline, MADELINE. Brame _ Madeline. Madeline, let us get into it. We have a lot to discuss. Let's jump in. What do you want to start with? Give us a little history about you. What makes you tick? How did you get here? Whatever you want to share with us.
Um, well, as we all know, my Hason, who was murdered in 2018, that is something that I cannot put words to, the feeling that I experienced. Everybody's grief process is different. Over the years, I have gotten to know many mothers of homicide victims, unfortunately, and all of us have a different reaction to that. Okay. However, at the end of the day, the emotion is still the same.
Yeah.
And everybody says the same thing. There is no words to describe it. But our reactions are all, different. Like I have a sister whose son was also murdered out in Suffolk County, Long Island. This happened about 13 years ago. He was killed in a drive-by shooting. He's 14 years old at the time. Her response was to go into a deep depression because no arrests were made. It took 12 years for there to be an arrest that was made. After arrest was made, she got some type of closure, trial. The guy got 25 to life. And now she's finally coming out of that depression. There is no right or wrong way to grieve. Some of the work that I do with my victims' rights advocacy work. My response was to fight or flight. Because my son was a warrior, all right? From the time he was a baby up until the very night that he died, he fought to his very last breath. So I decided that I was going to fight to my very last breath to try to bring justice, if not for him, then for the other, mothers and families of crime victims all across America. So that's what motivated me. What makes me tick is the backlash that I got from the criminal justice system, from the city of New York, from the establishment, from the apparatus of the city of New York that's ran by Democrats and progressives, which they shunned me. They ostracized me. They turned their backs on me. They looked at me like I had 16 heads. Letitia James, all right? At the time, de Blasio, was the mayor, Al Sharpton, Jamani Williams, all of them know firsthand my son's story. I sat in their offices and cried. Bill Perkins, Brian Benjamin, who was former senator of Harlem, who, you see why he didn't pay attention, because he was crooked. All right. Then Andrea Stewart Cousins. I lived in Yonkers at the time, in her district, 35. Went to her office, cried. No response. Well, what do you want us to do? National Action Network. That's Al Sharpton. Whoever answered his phone slammed the phone down on me. Very rude, very ghetto, like I was begging for welfare or something. All I wanted was some help. Then here comes Alvin Bragg. He was handed a strong trial-ready murder case against all 4 of those individuals who stabbed my son to death. Captured on video. All 4 charged and indicted with first-degree gang assault, second-degree murder. There's a video that shows everything that happened. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. There was never any plea deals. Never any plea deals. This case was going straight to trial. As soon as Alvin Bragg came into office in 2020 and bail reform was enacted, all of a sudden we can no longer prove the guilt of Mary Saunders and Travis Stewart. So Alvin Bragg, in his precision prosecution, he went in and he looked at it briefly. He had to be briefly. He couldn't have looked at that video, and decided that because Mary and Travis didn't have an extensive criminal history, that we were not going to hold them responsible for the murder of this young man, of Sergeant Hason. So homicide and first-degree gang assault indictments were completely dismissed against those 2. And the biggest insult was he charged Mary Saunders with assault with a shoe and sentenced her to 1 year time served. And if it wasn't for Mary, Hason would have been able to defend himself. We're talking 4 people with a knife against 1 with his hands. If her and Travis hadn't ganged up on my son, Hason would have been able to defend himself. Period. Knife and all. But, Alvin Bragg sees things through a different lens. He doesn't see that, the criminal or the person who are, the people committing these crimes are actually dangerous to the public. And he feels that if we let them go back into, there's a different way of treating these people.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't work, Madeline.
It doesn't.
Restorative justice, no.
We know it doesn't. Restorative justice, precision prosecution, bail reform, raise the age, less is more. All of it has been a complete train wreck, a complete disaster that has crashed directly into Black and brown communities. People are saying that Black people are disproportionately affected by incarceration. Well, I have, a newsflash. Black people are disproportionately the ones committing crimes. All right. And that is unfortunate and is due to a lot of different reasons. All right. But when we put policies in place that make it easier and actually make it possible to know that you can commit a crime and get away with it and there is no consequence, what do you think people are going to do? Especially with the less is more and the raise the age with the teenagers. All right. These are children that we're talking about. Raising my own children, and if you have children, you know that they need discipline. They need guidance. They need to be reined in on their negative behavior. We don't reward them for negative behavior. We punish them. We give them consequences. So when we remove those things from the equation, of course, they're going to wild out.
Free for all.
And this is what we see happening. And now, on top of, to add insult to injury, we have all these illegals that just got dumped literally on the sidewalks of New York City. All right? We don't know who these people are. They have not been vetted, just like President Trump said. these countries are sending us the worst of their worst from out of their prisons, from out of their insane asylums, and they're dumping them right into our country. So we added a whole new different type of criminal element. That's why we see these different types of crimes happening, things that we've never really seen before happen here. Because these people come from a different environment. These people are scavengers, okay? They're like children in the candy store right now, and everything is up for grabs. And they're doing stuff that, we have never, if it's happening, okay, if Americans are doing these type of crimes, we don't hear about it. Now it's in our face. Excuse me. Yeah. Now it's in their face, and Alvin Bragg lets them walk right out, assaulting our police. How dare they disrespect our police? And Alvin Bragg lets them walk right out of the courtroom. Then has to do this massive manhunt. Then he has to clean up. He only did that because Kathy Hochul threatened him. And she only said something because of the outrage from the public.
Thank you, because she's a partner in crime as well, in my opinion, Kathy Hochul.
Yes,
to all of this. So,
and she won't speak. She won't speak unless there's an outcry, and that's what New Yorkers need to do. Instead of all these Hamas protesters, all right, and protectors, these death to America, death to Israel people that we see, acting like complete fools in the street. Americans need to come out.
Yes. That's, you know what, Madeline? That's the thing. First of all, I've got to back up. When I mentioned your son's name, I started choking up. Mm-hmm. I get so upset as a mother to another mother. I am so sorry.
Thank you.
That you had to deal with this lifelong trauma. At least that's the way I look at this. I can't imagine. And I apologize for the way these people in New York treated you. This is horrendous. Members of your own community, I don't even know if that's like the right thing to say, but like to dismiss you, to not hold your hand. But we know what this bigger picture is on the state level, on the national level, and they're just taking their marching orders. Mm-hmm. But how dare they dismiss a mother? I live in New York City on the West Side. And Madeline, I had a meeting yesterday on West 39th. Okay. So I figure, okay, let me walk over. I'll walk down 8th, past the Port Authority over 39th, right? Get some exercise. I saw things, and I'm a New Yorker. I saw girls, 3 different girls out with little card tables, like one was selling potato chips, one was selling hand wipes. I know they're probably trafficked teenagers. You don't know. They could be 15 or 25. You can't really tell. I passed one of the hotels on 8th Avenue, the Row Hotel. Used to be the Milford Plaza back in the day. I go that far. All these police cars, people just milling about, these men, basically young men, I'd say like 20 to 30. I've also got one of the hotels around the corner from me with the families. No matter what you think, like humanitarian crisis, whatever the public thinks, I see these women crying sometimes in the streets. I just saw one the other day holding a brown paper bag with clothes in it with 2 little babies. So we bring all these people, we're dumping them all over, as you said, the sidewalks, screwing up the city, screwing up our lives. The streets are filthy. Why is this? I have so many questions for you. This landscape, Madeline, where is it going to go? Because every time I think it can't get worse, I wake up and it does get worse. Your story. Now I call them illegal aliens because they are people that broke into our country, in my opinion. They did not come here legally. Okay. We want people to come here legally. Mm-hmm. Where can this go? Because in the beginning, it was just, migrants. We are now seeing hardcore crimes, and media does not report it because a lot of my sources report a lot of things to me. We're seeing a lot of attacks on women and girls, not reported again, Madeline. Mm-hmm. Like, where do you see this going? Because I can't, how much worse can it get?
Well, I see it going the exact same place that you see it going. I work on 37 in Broadway. So I'm right down there.
I passed you yesterday almost. Yeah.
I take the Long Island Railroad in every single day, get off at 34th Street and walk over 200.
Horrible around there.
Right. First of all, I want to point out something that, is glaring, that our mayor and the apparatus, city council, Kathy Hochul, are completely ignoring our own homeless Americans and veterans, okay, that are suffering. I mean, eating out of garbage cans. It's just horrendous. All right. And then we have the illegals on the flip side, walking around with cell phones and new clothes and new sneakers and North Face jackets and Jordans on and jeans. And we see the kids, hair is done, nails done. But we have our own Americans suffering. And it's been like that for years. But now it's glaring because we see a contrast. All right. What I see happening, especially uptown in Harlem, in the Bronx, all right, in our poor minority communities, because that's where they're dumping the bulk of these illegals, okay, putting them up in hotels and, like they tried to do in Harlem. Yes. Last week, put them in that duplex where regular Harlemites couldn't afford that rent there if they had opened $3,000-$4,000 a month for a studio. But you want to turn that into an illegal migrant shelter when you have women and children that have been in shelter system for years looking for permanent housing and keep getting looked over, and it takes years for their name or their number to come up in those lotteries. Okay. So I'm glad that I see the Harlemites fighting with their attempt to stand up. But what I see happening is the Black and brown communities, the poor communities. I'm going to put it this way. Poor minorities, meaning white, Black, brown, Asian, Jewish, Italian, German, Russian, all New Yorkers who are in a low-income tax bracket. We're poor, okay? And we are the minorities. And this is where they're putting these people in our communities. I see our people, New Yorkers, rebelling and retaliating is what I see. Because the NYPD, their hands are tied. You see what's happening to them. They can't even, arrest anybody. They're afraid to use their pepper spray. They're afraid to put the cuffs on too tight on somebody. These illegals are going to try their hand, okay? They're going to push it as far as they can. And they're going to mess with the wrong people is what's going to happen. And you're going to see people from these communities taking the law into their own hands, right? People are going to be strapped. Women are carrying pepper spray and tasers and all kinds of different weapons to protect themselves. I'm down there in Midtown every day. I see how them young men that you're talking about, the 20 to 30 years old, are watching them little white women walk up and down them sidewalks that are going to work, okay? I speak a little Spanish, all right? Ay, mami, bendejo, mami chulo, que lindo. I see how they're talking and how they're eyeing these white women up and down. Rape is a part of their culture, okay? Raping is nothing to them. They come from a country where they can just snatch you and take you in the alley and rape you and just leave your body there. And who's to stop them? Who's to stop them? Now, I do see a difference between the South American immigrants and the African immigrants, okay? The African immigrants are here to get to that money. They're scam artists, okay? They do internet scams. They do web scams. They're real smart people. They're real smart. They're very intelligent, right? They have this collecting the cans, all right? They have this whole like gangs that take up certain blocks in Midtown where nobody else can touch the garbage cans, okay? They have actually their crews on the corners guarding the garbage cans until the rest of the crew catches up with them with their bags. And then they have a big truck, okay, that they all put together, and load up the truck. So this is how they're making their money. They're not so much violent people, all right? But they'll steal your mama if you let them, okay? But they're here. They're a different type of criminal, put it that way. They're not going to get violent unless you're violent with them. But these South American people are scavengers.
Vicious.
All right? And they're vicious. And they're after everything that we have. And they're after white women. Okay? They're not going to mess with the black woman. You know why? Because they're going to have to fight. But they're underestimating these white women too, because they'll fight too. They'll fight back. And this is what I'm encouraging everyone,
yes,
especially who works and travels through that Midtown Manhattan area, to arm yourself with something: pepper spray, taser, a sharpened pencil, carry your keys in your hand. If you're going to hold your phone, hold it tight enough where you could use the edge of it as a weapon. Remember, the phone is made out of glass, okay? Because you never know. Do not take it for granted,
yes.
all right? So it's sad that it's come to this. It's really sad that we can't even walk the street without feeling with our head being on swivel. You hear a loud noise, and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? It's sad that we've gotten to this point. And taxpayers, billions of dollars pumping into this. Right.
Where's the accountability? Where's the
transparency of where our money is being spent?
I'm glad you brought up about, unfortunately, we have to talk like this, because I'm telling women, we are now, Madeline, not even using like our pocketbooks. We're using like, like a grocery store bag, like a recycle, because we don't want anything to stand out, especially if we're walking alone, just walking alone, on the west side over to Midtown or something. Or the handbag goes inside the grocery bag, so nothing sticks out. I've even taken, with my blonde hair, you'll like this one, I put it in a hat. So like if I'm walking alone, I don't stick out, kind of just, look like a target. But I do like what you pointed out, that people have to be very aware of their surroundings. We can take nothing for granted. We have to always think, unfortunately, be ready. You also have to look. When you said swivel, those bicycles, mopeds, they're going in every different direction, in my neighborhood at least. You must look so you don't get hit by something and hurt. That's underreported too, because a lot of people are being hit, but they're not telling us about it. And also we have to point out that these people, a lot of them are from Venezuela. They are directly from the cartels. Well, the cartels have basically, it's just a business on our border. We have a U.S. government, this is my opinion, complicit with the cartels, just walking people in. Here you come. Here's your money. Go where you want. And they are vicious people. And they'll just take, harm all of us. I like that you pointed out, I'm all for people protesting peacefully. Why do you think everybody's going to bat for, other countries when we have all this right here in our own neighborhoods and backyards? Why won't Americans, why won't New Yorkers come together? Why aren't we in Times Square protesting this in our great city? Like, what's your thinking on that? Why won't they do this?
I think that people are afraid. Okay. People are afraid if they go against the establishment, if they go against the narrative, the status quo. It's like almost like being in the closet.
Yeah.
Right. Take for instance, when Lee Zeldin ran for governor, right? A lot of people, he was all over the city. He went into every community every time there was a shooting, he would pop up in the Bronx and stand right outside and give a press conference, right? But he didn't get a lot of visual support from people from those communities. But when it came down to voting, the people showed up to the polls. He almost won that.
Yes.
Right?
Close. Yeah.
He almost won that, very close. And it had a lot to do with the minority vote. Okay. People are not speaking up because they're in the closet about their political ideology or their political beliefs. okay? Because the city is ran by a bunch of lunatics, by a bunch of crackpots that believe in stuff that none of us ask for. None of us believe in it. None of us are falling for it. You only have your handful of people that fall for it because they're like, their minds are still on the plantation. They're still enslaved in their mind. The city is ran by Black people, and their followers are mostly Black or white liberals, okay, who are the biggest threat to the American people, especially to Black people, right? Like Malcolm X said. However, we won't go there with the white and Black thing, all right? However, people are in the closet like they have been for years about their sexual preferences.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that at the polls, people are going to show up.
I hope so. I pray every day, Madeline.
People love Trump, love him. I have a lot of Black friends. I have Black family, right? Who you voting for? Who else? Trump is a man. Trump is a man. And for the record, it has nothing to do with no damn gold sneakers either, right? So that comment that person made the other day, that's just an idiot who would say something like that. We support Trump because Trump has the same conservative values that we do, right? And we believe when he was in office, we were doing much better. The whole country was much better off when Trump was in office.
But Madeline, let me jump in. Something I can't say because, a lot of people say to me, oh, you're white, you're blonde, you're blue-eyed, you got to shut up. And the work I do behind the scenes is mostly Black women, brown women, safe houses. I'm in the Bronx. I'm in Queens. We'll leave that. That's stuff I don't advertise. Let's face it. The Black community has been gypped big time by this country, by New York City. I pray the Black community steps up to vote and vote. It's not even, we are Americans. It is so unfair. Again, I'm talking to you about this. It's something I can't talk to people about. They don't want to hear it from me. It is so clear what I see, what has been done to our Black community. I am so angry about it. Nobody really seems to be talking about that, to bring in all these illegals and our vets and just give them. We've got to get people, encourage them to vote, because a lot of them say to me, after the last election, it doesn't matter. We cannot have that attitude. We have to do everything in our power to try to take back this country. What are some of your thoughts about all of this?
Well, after the 2020 election, because I think more minorities came out and voted for Trump than we ever did in 30 years. Okay. And we most of us feel like, that election was stolen. Right. So Trump is not the only one who feels that way. All right. The minority voter has walked away from the plantation back from, I think from 2016 after Obama. After the 8 years of Obama, where all the hoopla and the glitz and the glamour and the pomp and the circumstance, the first Black this, the first Black that, of course, we voted for him. Then we saw that 8 years of him in office, we didn't get anything. He did nothing for our community, nothing. All right. Then here comes Trump. Then you got rappers and Trump money, and there's a rap song called Trump Money. All right. And even before Trump was a politician, people in our community loved Trump. So of course, all right. But then the 2020 election, more of us came out to vote than in 30 years. And we were, just knew that he was going to win that. And when he didn't, we were sorely disappointed because we saw the trajectory of what democratic rule has been taking our communities for generations. We were loyal to that party, loyal to them. We weren't loyal in this last gubernatorial election. We didn't win because enough of us didn't come out to vote, because the attitude is, our vote doesn't count anyway. All right. But I think because of, like you said, all the illegals that got dumped in our community and putting those people before our own, American citizens, I think that you're going to see that rise, that swell again in the morale and in the eagerness of our communities to come out and vote again in November. Right? They're trying to play around with those district maps again, trying to suppress our vote again, to confuse the voter again. That's part of the work we do with Brexit, New York. Okay, we don't tell people who to vote for, but we educate people on the voter registration process, right? Making sure that they're filling out those voter registration forms properly. Question number 14, all right, where if you want to change your party affiliation, you have the option to do that on the voter registration form. A lot of people are not aware of that. Right. They think that once a Democrat, they're locked in, all right, for life. But no, on that form, question number 14, you have the option of changing your party affiliation, right? People don't understand that in the local elections, if you're registered as a Democrat, you can only vote for a Democratic candidate, right? But in the presidential election, you can vote for whatever candidate. So people don't understand that the local elections are more important than the presidential election, because the local elections are the ones that we vote for, who are going to bring back money for initiatives and projects in our community to help our community. And if we are voting bums into office that are not fit to be doggone it dog catchers, all right, that's what we're going to get, all right, because that's currently in City Hall are people who are there due to the lack of voting, not because people overwhelmingly voted for them. All right.
That's exactly right.
Low vote turnout. These people are not fit to be dog catchers, let alone an elected official. I get angry about that.
Me too.
I get angry about that because the voter is not educated on how important the local elections are, or the people that are even up for office. And I want to add one thing about the Republicans, okay? They're the only ones who reached out to me after my son was killed, right? They embraced me. I'm talking Tom Kenneth, Lee Zeldin, the whole 9 yards. Bill Pepitone, the whole 9 yards. They all reached out to me. The Giuliani's, Rudy, love Rudy. Rudy's my guy, okay? They all reached out to me. They embraced me. And they supported me. Fox News gave me a platform. Newsmax gave me a platform. You gave me a platform. Okay? OAN gave me a platform. A lot of different, media outlets gave me platforms. However, when it comes to them actually doing outreach into the minority community, they're terrible at it. Because I don't know if they're afraid or if they feel that they're going to be rejected, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. But if we're expecting for more people to come out and support our cause, we're going to have to go in there.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground, get the hands dirty, talk to the people, right? We can't take the vote for granted like the Democrats have done all these decades and think that it's a given just because things are so terrible. Because people won't even bother to come out and vote. They'll say in their mind, why am I voting for them? We don't even know who they are, So these local elections, like I dipped my foot in that. That's a cesspool. Politics is a cesspool, all right? Too much money involved in it. I dipped my foot in it and I saw what's really involved. And I would have to compromise myself, my values, right? And I'm not willing to do that. So I'd rather just be a volunteer. I'd rather just be a volunteer and work with the people in the community than play with their politics mess.
No, but Madeline, that's it. Because at the Warriors, we have our hashtag we always use: community creates change.
Yes.
I firmly believe that. I do work with Albany on policy. I do work with the federal government. I will continue. Can't get anything done there, though. It has to be done at the community level. Also, I have to mention, I'm very disappointed when we had the 51 council seats up recently, a couple of months back, and only 5% of New Yorkers that were eligible to vote. Madeline, that's all that came out to vote. It used to be 10% of eligible. This was 5%. So I'm happy you pointed out this is where it matters at the community level. But 5%? That is, might as well be zero. Might as well be 0%. My husband and I went. We do go right here by John Jay College to vote. There was nobody else there when we went to vote. Nobody the whole time we were there for the few minutes came in to vote. I was shocked. We have to get people to vote.
People are not aware. They're not aware that, or do they know who the local candidate is? What are their options? They don't think it matters. They don't think it makes any difference. That's why it's really, really important to get out and start engaging, the community. I don't care where it is, supermarket, the subway, the liquor store, the check cashing place. I don't care where it is, wherever people are gathered, the street corner where they're shooting dice, okay? Wherever they're eligible to vote, right? Wherever people are,
wherever people are. We also, what are your thoughts, Madeline, before we finish up? I'm very concerned about our young people.
Oh,
they're watching all this go on. We know there's a well-documented youth mental health crisis. I'll say 30 and under with the work we do. What are we going to do? I'm a great believer. I get shot down all the time. We've got to mentor them more. We have to partner up with them more. Older people. I actually used the word older woman, referring to myself the other day. Other women were screaming at me, but I meant it as to empower our young girls. I like what you were saying. I don't laugh out loud, Madeline, a lot, but you're like, you said something the other day on Twitter, like, or X, put your clothes on. I don't know what you said, cover up, where's that self-respect? Because I was at the tail end of the women's movement growing up in New Jersey. And like, as a kid, the women have taken a step back in society today. I mean, it's very clear. How are we going to get to them? They are our future adults, our future leaders. There's a real disconnect here with our young people. And I am so scared. What will the next 5 years bring?
Well, social media influences it. Rap music influences it. The whole culture of that, the strippers. And now we got Fanny Willis. Okay.
Oh, what a disservice, right?
We want to prop her up and make her a female hero when she represents what's, a huge part of what's wrong with our community. All right. When it comes to sleeping with someone else's spouse, right? Black people have a very, very high divorce rate because of stepping out on their partners. Okay. She does not represent the majority of Black women. That's all I can say about her. She's an embarrassment. She's a disgrace. All right. And I even want to go as far as, this is not a curse, it's calling her a slut. All right. Because that's what, most Black people, Black decent, law abiding, struggling Black women look at her as. She is a homewrecker. All right. And she just a bad look. And this is the type of example that we are trying to prop up for our young women to aspire to be like. All right. And I would just say to our young women that she represents everything that's wrong. You don't have to sleep your way to the top. All right. We don't have to believe in this what is it, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. You stand on your own merits. You strive for greatness, strive for excellence on your own. All right. And as far as, our young women are concerned, put your clothes on. Right. Trust me, if anybody knows what that brings, the negative attention that brings, it's me. I've been around a long time. And I understand about the young woman and the way she thinks, but this is some extra stuff we're doing here. Yeah. Right? We don't have to show off our body to try to get attention. What kind of decent man do we think that we're going to attract by showing everything we got to the world? No decent man wants a woman who is showing off her body for every other man to see. All right? Oh, yeah, she'll get a man, but it will be just for her body, just for what she looks like. He will not be interested in anything, any of her feelings, what she thinks, anything. All right. Her mind, she won't be of any value just for her body and what she looks like. So we need to have some more self-esteem about ourselves and care more about who we are as a young lady and a woman. Have some pride. You know, our children, our sons are watching. All right. Our sons are watching us disrespect them and also disrespect their fathers. If we're walking around with eyelashes that are 3 inches long, makeup, twerking.
Madeline,
Okay.
I'm digressing for a minute. I'm totally interrupting you. Why do the girls wear those eyelashes that I'm not kidding? I was in a cheesecake factory. I'm not kidding. And in Philadelphia, and I thought her head was going to fall down. Now I'm not exaggerating because they were so big and she was a petite kind of young woman. I was with my daughter. Then my daughter, I said nothing. And then my daughter said, why is she wearing eyelash? Like we've seen it, but like really bad. What is
Yeah.
that? Why? Seriously, I digress here, but what is that?
They're trying to achieve a look. They're
What
trying to
look?
achieve a certain look, like a Cardi B look, like a Little Kim look, like a They don't understand that those rappers, okay, have millions of dollars. It takes them 5 hours to print themselves and beautify themselves up like that. All right. So when they step out, they look flawless. All right. But these young girls think
Oh,
that if they throw
sad.
some eyelashes that are this long and they flutter their
Yeah.
eyelids, that somehow it's going to draw.
No, but Matt,
They,
it's so
what they're
sad.
trying to achieve.
No, it's so
It's
it like it hurts me. Like that's what they think will get them attention, or
hilarious.
they
It's
think they
hilarious.
look good. Like
Yeah.
and I wanted to, but I couldn't. Like say something, but I so wanted to, but I really could not. But I kept saying, "Oh, the poor thing. How is she like going to hold her head up?" Because it was just, I mean, really bad. This is worse than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay, now let us finish up with how can the public help you? What do you
Okay.
want them to do for you? This is
Yes.
what we need to get to.
Okay. Right now we are in the process of doing the street outreach with the warm winter gear giveaway, sponsored and donated by Zeldin Cares. That's Lee Zeldin's program, the Dakota Project. All right. Atrix Gear. The let me say the right name. Let me
Yeah,
say
because
the right name.
I'll put all this in the body of
Okay.
the video so everybody can see it.
Okay. Yeah.
So we got the Lee Zeldin.
We are doing Dakota, the Dakota Project. Hold on a second. Okay, here it is. Lee Zeldin of Zeldin Cares, Atrix Gear, the Bruderman Family Foundation. That's BRUDERMAN Family Foundation. They're the ones who actually donated and are financing the manufacturing of these winter gears. They're exclusively for homeless New Yorkers, Americans, and veterans. All right. This stuff will not be distributed to any illegals. All right. So you'll never see us out there in Midtown or in front of one of the hotels handing out this gear. This stuff is beautiful, high quality, military grade. All right, exclusively for our homeless New Yorkers and veterans. Okay, so we have something coming up. We did a few things already out at the VA hospital in Kingsbridge. We did it out in a couple of veterans places. And also we did the Boys and Girls Club out in Bellport, where for Black History Month, we serviced about 150 people out there. So Saturday we'll be up in Getty Square in Yonkers. We're just going to pull up. We're just going to pull up because they have a high homeless population. This afternoon, I have NYPD coming to my home from their community affairs to pick up boots. And then we have the EOC of Nassau County. They're also coming to my home to pick up some more stuff. So that's one of the things we're doing right now. That's what Blexit, New York, Turning Point USA. That's, I'm the state director of Blexit, New York. But as far as my Rescue Angel organization, you can go to my Facebook page, Rescue Angel 1. All right. Please go to my profile. I haven't done this in a while, but I have to start the GoFundMe fundraising again. Right. I haven't done it in over a year because I didn't need to, but now I need to start raising some funds because I want to travel to Chicago. All right. To go in and talk to the crime victims and the mothers of homicide victims. I'd like to go to places like St. Louis. I'd like to go to places like Memphis. All right. All those places where they're high crime rate. And I would like to speak to the mothers and the different groups in those states and see if we can establish some type of movement where we can begin to start to fight back and push back against the policies that are currently in place that are causing all of this, crime to be out of control, because we are the ones who suffer. Our children are the ones that are being killed, right? And until we stand up together and push back, one voice, one message, nationally, a national stage, nothing will actually change. Nothing will actually change, because as long as we stay silent, they think that they know that we don't accept it, but they take advantage because we're vulnerable and we're not at we're not coming from a position of power. All right. But if we should stand up together and be bold about it. So please go to my Facebook page, Rescue Angel 1, in my profile, hit the GoFundMe button to help me, to pay for travel and lodging to go to Chicago, St. Louis, Memphis, any of these big cities.
All of them, all of those big cities. You need to get it. I'm going to have all that information again in the body. No, absolutely. It's funny. I'll connect you later on. I just got a call. I'm going to actually call her next from a colleague of mine in Chicago, who said, we got to talk more, come on the radio about mothers and women coming together. We've got the trafficking. Everybody's ignored us for years anyway. Now we've got all these illegals. Help, help, help. So I'm going to connect both. I'll do that later. Madeline Brame, I could talk to you. We've got to talk more often. You're my fellow New Yorker. You are warrior number one. We are going to get busy in 2024 supporting you, helping you, getting the information out there. People need information. People need also an easy tool, to take an action, right? And you're doing that. I'm doing that. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I want everybody follow Twitter, Facebook. Again, I'll have everything listed out for you. God bless you. Again, community creates change. Madeline, you have to speak up. You have to speak out. You certainly are a shining example of a warrior. I can't say that enough to you. I've been thinking about you a lot lately, and I'm like, I gotta talk to Madeline. I gotta get back there. It's 2024. We're going into March already. We got to get busy. So everybody, please, you can start right now by following Madeline on X or Twitter, at Brame _Madeline. Madeline Brame. Go get ready for your pickups for the event tomorrow. Thank you for doing all of that. Fellow New Yorker, be very, very safe. We will speak soon. And again, I'd love to have you back much more often, because a lot of issues we have to, as women, also empower, especially our younger women and all women, that they can do it. There's power in numbers, and it's all good. So thank you, Madeline Brame. We will speak again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Lynn. And you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, Madeline.
Thank you. Bye now.